Determiners are the words which are used to determine a noun. They are always used before a noun. There are 7 kinds of determiners. First, articles. Second, demonstrative determiner. Third, distributive determiner. Fourth, quantifier. Fifth, numerals. Sixth, possessives. And the last one is interrogatives. So let's start with the first point, article. There are 3 kinds of articles: indefinite article, definite article, and the last one is zero article. There are 2 kinds of indefinite articles, AR and definite article is the. In zero article, we will study the points under which we do not use any article before some certain nouns. As I have told you, there are 2 kinds of indefinite articles, N or A. N is used before vowel sound, so always go for the pronunciation of the words. If the first alphabet of a word produces a vowel sound, then we use N before such word, whereas if the first alphabet of a word produces the sound of a consonant, then we use A. For example, an MLA, here MLA, the first alphabet of MLA produces the sound of vowel, therefore we use N. Similarly, an MA and SDO. Whereas in the second example, a one-eyed man, though it starts with a vowel O, however, it does not produce the sound of any vowel. Its pronunciation is one. Here it produces sound of one, V, a consonant. Therefore, we cannot use N before such words. We will use A. Next point, A or N is weakened form of one. Therefore, they are used before a singular countable nouns when they are not definite. For an example, a cow, a dog, a wolf, a boy, or a girl. Next point, in exclamatory sentences which start with what. But remember one thing, in exclamatory sentences the noun should be singular. If the noun is plural, we do not use any article. For example, what a nice idea, what an interesting story. And if the noun is plural, we do not use any article. For an example, what beautiful eyes. Next, before these certain abstract nouns, we use indefinite article. For an example, a pity, a hurry, a mercy, a shriek, a headache, a pain. Before a proper noun of great repute, when used as a common noun to show similarity or comparison, we use indefinite article before that noun. For example, she is a Savitri. Here Savitri has been used to show the characteristics of the lady. There is similarity between the lady and Savitri, therefore the lady has been compared to Savitri. In that case, the proper noun of great repute becomes a common noun, so we use indefinite article A or N before that noun. Another example, he is a Ram. Remember one thing, if a proper noun of great repute is used as a common noun to show similarity, its first alphabet is written in a small letter, as I have written in both the words Savitri. Here S is in a small letter. It shows that the noun has been used to show similarity, therefore it has become a common noun. It's not a proper noun now. Next point, before a proper noun if the speaker does not know him. For an example, a Mr. Sharma has taken that book and Ashish wants to talk to you. It means the speaker does not know the subject. He is not familiar with the person, therefore he says any Ashish wants to talk to you. So here an has been used as an alternative to any. Now definite article. Definite article, the first point of definite, we use definite article the before ordinals. But remember one thing, ordinals must be followed by a noun. If there are ordinals but they are not followed by any noun, in that case we do not use any article before them. They must be followed by a noun. For example, she has scored the first rank, but if we say she has stood blank space first, in that case we cannot use any article. Another example, he could not play well in the second innings. Next point, before superlative degree. If you find any of these words, best or most, they are prefix which are used before a word, whereas est, it is used as a suffix, means at the end of a word. So if you find any of these words, we use the before such words. For an example, Shreyansh is the handsomest participant. Here, handsomest, the word handsome has been used in its superlative degree, handsomest. Therefore, we use the. This is the most interesting book ever. In that case, the word interesting has been used in its superlative degree, most interesting. So we use the. But remember one thing: most should be followed by an adjective. Only in that condition we use the before most. If most is used without any adjective, we do not use any article before it. For an example, the book I like most is The Invisible Man. Here in this example, most has not been followed by any noun, so we cannot use any article in such condition. Next point, before the noun which becomes definite by being mentioned previously. For an example, yesterday I saw a boy, the boy was very poor. Here, the repetition of the noun indicates that I am talking about the particular boy to whom I saw yesterday. Therefore, if a common noun is repeated 2 or more times, we use definite article from the second time onwards. Next point, before the following things. Now, there are some certain nouns or things. Before these nouns, we use the. For an example, name of newspaper, magazine, holy books or scriptures, musical instruments, historical monuments, directions, rivers, oceans, continents, the group of islands or mountains or hills, peaks or religions, community or creed, political party, all the imaginary lines of the earth, poles or hemisphere of the earth, planets, stars, sky, bays, deserts, etc. But we do not use any article before the name of any particular peak, mountain or hill. For example, Mount Everest is the highest peak. Here, Mount Everest is the name of a particular peak, so we cannot use any article before Mount Everest. But we can use the before the Himalayas, the Aravalli Hills. Next point, before the following proper nouns. There are some certain nouns. Before these nouns we use the. They are the USA, the UAE, the UNO, the Netherlands, the Punjab. Now, the next point, if a phrase or clause makes a noun definite, means if a noun is followed by a phrase or clause which makes it definite, in that case we use the before that noun. For an example, the girl in red dress. Here, the phrase in red dress makes this girl definite, that I'm talking about this particular girl who is wearing red dress. So, in that case, when a phrase or clause makes a noun definite, we use the before such nouns. Next example, the boy holding a bag. Here, holding a bag is a phrase which makes this boy definite, that I'm talking about the particular boy who is holding a bag among many. Next, the man whose eyes are brown. Here, the noun man has been followed by a clause whose eyes are brown. This clause makes this man definite, so we use the before this noun. Next point, before a comparative degree when it is used twice in a sentence. For example, the more you work, the more you earn. A comparative should be repeated in a sentence. Only in that case we use the before a comparative degree. Otherwise, we do not use any article before comparative or positive degree. Another example, the higher you go, the steeper it becomes. Next point, before a noun which is identified through the context. For example, please pass the salt. It means I'm talking about the particular salt which is there on the table. Next, the principal is on leave. It means the principal of the school pertaining to the speaker. Next point, before singular nouns used to represent the whole class. If a singular noun is used to represent the whole class, then we use the before that noun. For example, the dog is a faithful animal. It means I'm talking about all the dog, the characteristics of the dog. The ant is hardworking. Next point. Before adjectives, when they are used to represent the whole class. For example, the rich should help the poor. Here, the rich. If you find adjective representing the members of the whole class, in that case we use the before that adjective. The rich should help the poor. Here, the rich means all the rich people, whereas and the poor means all the poor people. The dead never come back. Here, the dead means all the dead people or the dead man. Next point. The is used before the nouns expressing a unit. Here, there is a correction. The word is the, not with. So, there are the nouns, like some certain nouns which are used to express a unit. Before these nouns, we use the. For example, these laborers are paid by the hour. Another example, there are 7 apples to the kilo. If you find any preposition before nouns expressing a unit, so we use the before that nouns. Next point, before the noun referring to a part of human body, we use the. He was hit on the head. If a noun represents the part of a human body, we use the before that noun. Now, use of zero article. It is also known as omission of article. Its first point is article is omitted before plural or uncountable nouns. For example, gold is a precious metal. Here, gold is uncountable noun, so we cannot use any article before gold. Another example, children are playing in the ground. Children, though it is countable but plural in number. So in both the conditions we cannot use any article. If a noun is plural in number or uncountable, we cannot use any article. Next point, before the following places if they are used for a general purpose, but if they are used for a different purpose, we use the before these nouns. For example, school, hospital, church, market, temple, college, office, park. But if these places are used for a different purpose, we use the before these nouns. For example, he is going to hospital. Here it is quite clear that he is going to hospital. Obviously his purpose is to get himself examined. So we cannot use any article in this case. Whereas if the purpose is quite different, then we use the before these nouns. Here in the next sentence, he is going to the hospital to see his uncle. His purpose is different, so we have used the. Next point, before the name of meal. For example, breakfast, lunch, supper or dinner, we do not use any article. So instead of saying the dinner is ready, we say dinner is ready. But we can say the dinner that we had at Hotel Aravali Vihar was delicious. Now, as I have already told you that if a phrase or clause makes a noun definite, we use the before that noun. Here, a clause has been used that we had at Hotel Aravali Vihar. Here, this clause makes this noun, this word dinner makes definite. So we use the before this noun. Next point, before the following nouns, we do not use any article. They are paradise, heaven, hell, nature, almighty, God, providence, spring, summer, life, mankind, etc. Before these words, we do not use any article. So instead of saying the God is everywhere, we say God is everywhere. One thing is to be noted, words which are used for God always start with capital letters. Even if the pronoun he even the word, the pronoun he is used for God, its first letter is written in capital letter. The last point of this topic, before proper noun, material noun and abstract noun, we do not use any article. Mohan is my best friend. Here Mohan is a proper noun, so we cannot use any article before Mohan. Water is the elixir of life. Water is uncountable noun, or we can say it is also material noun, so we cannot use any article before these nouns. So that's all for the day. The remaining topics we will do in the next class.